Hi friends, this is Eunice. Thank you for joining me again today. Today I just wanted to share about struggles and how struggles produce in us a faith. And with that faith, we have a testimony that if we share with others, it also builds other people's faith. So I just want to share a quick quote from my husband, Chris. It's on our website, and it's that we believe that faith and struggle do not contradict each other. In fact, struggles are meant to take us to heights and depths in our faith that would be impossible to attain otherwise. And I wanted to share also a quick scripture from Revelation 12:11. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. So I just wanted to share a struggle that I had when I became a new mom. And that was just, I became a new mom at 23. I had no idea what I was doing. But we, we're young and in love, and we just decided to go for parenting. And so we, had a honeymoon baby. And like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. But one of the biggest struggles I had when I had him was that he, one, didn't sleep a lot, but also two, I just was not producing enough milk for him to thrive. And so in his short first year that I tried to nurse him, I had probably 3 to 4 different infections that made it really challenging to nurse. But also I had to supplement with formula because even though I had consultations with 3 different lactation consultants that we paid for and breastfeeding counselors, I just did not have enough milk, even though all the textbooks would say that I had enough milk. That me as a new mom, I should have enough milk for my son. And so it was a real wrestle for me, but I did have to end up feeding my son formula as a supplement. But what's crazy is the same exact thing happened with my second son. Is even though all the textbooks say I should have enough milk for my babies, it really was such a huge struggle for me. And so with my second son, I had to supplement also with formula. Well, then comes the birth of my third son. And if you watch my last video, you know that it was a really traumatic birth. He was born 5 weeks early, and so he was premature and in the NICU for 10 days because his lungs had not developed. Also, we were staying in a hotel in Louisiana at the time because we were on a trip. So there were a lot of factors in there, but something that was actually amazing about that time was as I was pumping milk for him, I again did not have enough milk. But I finally got an accurate diagnosis from a lactation consultant that I physically had a problem in my body, that I had a lack of breast milk. And it was called, I think, delayed lactation is what she labeled it. Well, what's crazy is after 3 kids, finally, I had peace of mind because with every kid I had, I really felt such terrible guilt. Reading articles, seeing other women nursing, especially reading the articles about how good, breast milk is for their brain development. I was worried that I was going to mess my kids up. I carried so much guilt. Even though they were thriving and they were doing awesome, I still just carried this load of mom guilt until that moment when the lactation consultant finally diagnosed my condition. And finally, I could just say, hey, I actually have a problem, and I accepted that. And what's crazy is just through my different struggles of nursing, I had some dark times, especially with my first son. I had depression. I just felt so guilty. And I remember my husband just encouraging me, Eunice, your testimony when you overcome this, it's going to help so many moms. Now, as a young mom, I was just like, I don't care. I would rather not struggle. I did not want struggles. I don't like struggling. And I made that very clear to my husband. But the reality of it was those struggles didn't disappear just because I wanted them to disappear. I had to wrestle through them with the Lord and surrender them to Him. Well, fast forward, I've been a mom now. My oldest son is turning 18 this month, which is mind-blowing. And what's crazy is how many moms I have helped over the years, for example, with nursing, and just encouraging them when they do have to turn to formula and when things just didn't turn out the way that they had planned, especially just rewinding back to my third son's birth. Like, nothing in his birth plan turned out how I wanted. In fact, God saved my son's life because my son could have died if he didn't have immediate medical attention. And so it's just amazing to me how the Lord saved my son's life, didn't allow us to get on the airplane that morning because he knew that Zach needed immediate medical attention, you know? So I just look back and see how the Lord even used that struggle, and it's just such a testimony of his faithfulness and how his hand really is in every part of our lives. Now, I just wanted to share all that with you, just to encourage each one of you out there. I don't know what struggles you are going through, but I do believe that if you press into Jesus with your struggles, that the Lord can turn those dark struggles into a deeper faith in each one of us. And with that faith, as we share our testimony with others, it will not just build our faith, but it'll build other people's faith. I think that's something that's so needed right now. Right now is a time where there's just so much commotion. The elections are coming up. Coronavirus has hit the world. There is a massive race problem in our nation. All these things are weighing so heavily on our hearts. And yet the Lord, I believe he has a solution. I believe as we keep pressing into him with our struggle, he has a solution, and he is going to help us overcome. And so I just wanted to also just quickly share another testimony from my life of how the Lord has helped me overcome. So as some of you know, we worked overseas in ministry in the Middle East for 3.5 years. But when the Lord started calling our family, so that was about 7 years ago, when the Lord started calling our family to the Middle East, I was honestly terrified. And it was a huge wrestle that the Lord delivered me of fear. Because honestly, fear is something I struggled with most of my life, if not my whole life. But it really came to the surface when the Lord started inviting our family to the Middle East. And like I shared in a previous video, when the Lord first invited us over, I said no to him. I was not willing to surrender my family, the safety and comfort that we had here in America, to move to another country. But it was through a series of events that I released that to the Lord. But what's crazy is just because I got on the airplane doesn't mean that I was delivered from fear. To be honest, it was a 3.5-year long process, maybe 3-year process, that I had to keep surrendering my fears of just, my husband and my kids dying or myself dying when we were there. It was actually a very tumultuous time and season in the nation that we moved to when we moved there. It's crazy because there was a terrorist organization there, and it was a crazy time in our city at one point. At one point in our city, there were terrorist attacks happening about once a month. And it was in places that were not that far from us. In fact, the one time that my fear really came to the surface in a really scary way for me was we were going on a trip, and my husband was trying to buy souvenirs for his friends. So he wanted to go to this other part of the city to buy these souvenirs. Well, he did, and then the next day we got on the airplane to go on our trip. Well, we found out when we landed in Asia on our trip that there was a terrorist attack in our city, literally on the street that my husband had been the day before, trying to buy his souvenirs for his friends. And at that moment when I read the news story, a new level of terror came upon me. I was scared out of my mind to return. When we returned to our city, I really struggled for many months, asking people to pray for me, because I was just worried about our safety, honestly, and in the news was extremely daunting. The news did not help me. Every day, every hour, some days, I had to surrender my family again and again to the Lord. And what's crazy is, this one week, I just really was down in the dumps with fear. In fact, that week I remember I functioned in feeding my family and taking care of the kids, making sure they were getting their homeschooling done. But all the other times that I wasn't busy, I was just laying on the couch because I really was struggling with depression in the midst of that fear. Well, in that time, the Lord prompted me to pick up these books. And these are books released by YWAM. It's called the Christian Heroes Then and Now series. And we had these books with us because they were part of my kids' homeschool curriculum. And so I just saw these books and I just decided to start reading the testimonies of these amazing missionaries and people of faith. And as I remember that week I read probably 25 to 30 of these books. As I read each book one after another, and realized, wow, these men and women of God had to overcome really scary circumstances, way scarier than mine. I realized that the Lord was building my faith. And by the end of that week, through the power of these people's testimonies, like Corrie ten Boom, Lottie Moon, Nate Saint, these are just some of the books I read. By reading through their testimonies, the Lord strengthened my spirit and literally broke the spirit of fear over my life that had really been taunting me and tormenting me some days for months. And so I just wanted to share that testimony with you because right now is a very uncertain time. A lot of people are going through a lot of different things. And so whether it's you're going through something like you're a new mom and you're experiencing some of the same challenges as a new mom as I did, I just want to encourage you. You can overcome. Press into Jesus and he will help you overcome. And I just encourage you also, listen to other people's testimonies of how they overcame the hardships in this new transition of motherhood. I also just encourage you, like, let's say you are struggling in the area of finances. I encourage you to start listening to people's testimonies. There's amazing podcasts, YouTube videos, books and articles of just how people overcame and have testimonies of how the Lord strengthened them and helped them overcome in the area of finance. Right now is a time that I believe our testimonies in the body of Christ are really going to strengthen one another. And I really just discourage you, like, don't listen to these testimonies with the ear to be comparing yourself to people, but really with the ear of faith to be hearing what the Lord could do in your life. And so I just wanted to encourage you with those thoughts, because I really do agree with my husband. As much as I hate struggling, the struggles in my life have really honed my faith and have given me strength and have given me a testimony to share. And so I know each one of you, as you press into the Lord in your struggle, you too will have a testimony. And the world needs to hear your testimony. And that is how we're going to overcome these challenging times right now. So I just wanted to encourage you with that thought. I bless you with every heavenly blessing the Lord has for you. I pray that you are healthy, strong, and well, and that you can find strength in the Lord today. Have an awesome day. Thanks for listening. Bye.